Howdy, welcome back to the channel. Today we are working on 4 pieces of obsidian for a customer, so we're going to go ahead and go through the stages from start to finish and see how they turned out. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So these are actually customers, and I already did some grinding, but I need to do some more grinding down. So we're going to smooth these all out the best we can, and then we're going to reveal the layers in all their glory. So these ones are fractured up quite a bit. So I gotta try to remove those fracture areas the best I can. And we'll see what we can do with that. Okay, so we got the rough grinding down. The next step is going to be doing either the 100 grit on this belt over here, that way, or using the blue machine to use the wheels on it. But I think we're going to try to do the 100 grit first. And then one thing you'll see here, there is a lot of fracturing going on here. Nothing I can do about that. The best I can do is just polish this piece up the way it is, and just hope those don't break out any more than they already have. So a lot of fractures there, a lot of fractures there, and there, and one there too. This one's not near as bad. There are some spots there, and then some smaller spots here. This back side, too much of a sharp edge to really get my wheels in there to really grind this, so I'm not sure what to really do with this. I might just leave it alone. Kind of give it a more natural versus finished look. And then, of course, this little one here. Same thing. You got some fracture marks here. These ones are pretty shallow. I might see if I can kind of grind these ones out. I don't know yet. We'll see. And then I think there might be a couple up here. One there. And a couple on the side. But we're not so much worried about the sides. We're focusing on getting everything else polished up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give everything a matte finish all the way around, and then I'm going to polish where the color plays at. Okay, so I did not record a lot of this, but the Obsidian is done. To the best of my abilities anyway, and I'll explain that here in a second. But I spent a lot of time bouncing from the blue cabbing machine to the Genie here. Um, the 280, 600, and 1200, those are all brand new Diamond Pacific Nova wheels, and these are the worn wheels. And so I did a lot of heavy lifting with these wheels, and then came over here for fine tuning since they're more worn. So a lot of I do work with a lot of Obsidian. And I don't do the very best work in the world, but I do what I can. And some pieces turn out great. Some pieces I have actually had to go back multiple times. A few of these pieces I had to go back multiple times, and I've still not achieved the very best, top-notch, A-grade polish ever. But it still turned out okay. So with these pieces, I did not polish certain areas for like the sides where it did not show any color. I left those alone. But I did at least make it look shiny, so it doesn't look kind of rough and like ugly, ugly-ish. But there is some natural cracks and fractures in the pieces. This is probably one of my favorite pieces. I like the flash, the shape, the color. It's a very beautiful piece, and again, I had a natural fracture in there. I left that alone because I did not want to grind down any more of this piece than I absolutely needed to. I worked with the natural shape of the stone. And here on the other side, nice flash. Again, I got some fuzzies on there from the towel. It's got a natural crack there, natural impact mark. I did not put those there. I just didn't want to grind down too far and lose any of what was already there. Now, with this piece and another piece, I do want to say that I have these pieces done first. I put them in a bucket, and the bucket must have got bumped, and there must have been some kind of other grit in the bucket, because what happened was it was on this side of the stone in the bucket of water, and it got scratched up a little bit. And I was not too pleased with this because I know I had this polished before I went in the bucket. Luckily, it's not on the side where it shows the color. So that is a plus. So there's that piece. So here's the other small piece. Like I said, it was in a bucket of water, sitting like that, and got bumped a few times. You can see some of the scratches right there. Oh my gosh, the reflection is strong with this one. There's scratches there, anyway. But it still has super nice bright color. And of course, these are natural imperfections that already were there. I work with the natural shape of the stone because I don't like to have very much waste. This is the other side. Got some fuzzies from the rag. Nice soft green. Beautiful. So here's one of the bigger pieces. This one I really liked. I like the shape of how it turned out. I like the material itself. It kind of reminds me of iron shavings, but colored, if that makes any sense. You know, when you put a magnet on some iron shavings, it just kind of like flares out. That's what this kind of reminds me of. But I also like some of the colors that were in here when I was working this. It might be hard to pick it up on the camera, but there's a little flash of color in there, and you can kind of see down here too, there's some blue. I did not know this was here until I was, I think on the 600 or 1200 wheel, and it was really starting to show. And I was like, oh man, that's super cool. And then I came down here, and there's actually a little bit of rainbow. That's actually a really good shot of that color. So this is one of my favorite pieces between that and one of the smaller ones that's like more of a triangle. And so let's go ahead and go over to the last piece here. So this is the last piece. Again, I did not polish the sides. I only polished where the color was. I really liked the colors that were in this piece, and it actually turned out really great. Again, natural impact marks. That's not fire obsidian. That is a fracture that goes into the piece. And then here is the other side. Again, we have some natural fracturing. Nothing I can do about that. I was just very careful with the cleaning stage, because of what I do after I polish any kind of rocks and the polish gets into like cracks and crevices I can't get, I either use a steam cleaner or I use a pressure washer, a very low grade pressure washer. And so with this one, I used the pressure washer, and I was very careful to actually aim the nozzle in the opposite direction, so it did not get into any kind of these chipped surfaces and blow out where it was already fractured. Same thing when I was polishing. I made sure that when I was polishing, that the carpet was actually going away from any kind of catches, so I did not risk not only damaging the piece, but damaging my carpet wheel. But this was a beautiful piece, fractured small. I know there might be a few people that might disagree because of the fractures, but you know what? It's art. I took the stone in its natural state. I was very careful to minimize waste by only grinding away what I needed to grind away, and got this. Got some greens, he got some blues down here. So I think it's like a peach color, but it's a very beautiful stone, and I'm glad I did it. Now, I've had a few people ask me, well, how do you cut it? So let's say, and I can always do another video down the road too of how to cut rainbow obsidian to get the color out. Well, if you look at this piece, this is actually a good example of what you need to do. So you should be able to see these layers. These are all layers here. So these layers are going this way. There's a couple going straight across, and layers up here going like that. Well, if you take a piece of rainbow obsidian and you just cut it like this, you're not going to get color. You're going to be getting just a slab of obsidian with those lines. But if you take it and you cut it this way, you can either, there's a couple ways you can do this. You can either cut it in a V pattern. Sorry for the squeaky sound. You cut it in a V pattern and you'll get a nice, well, you'll get this. That's what will kind of happen if you cut it in a more V pattern. You'll get a nice effect like that. If you cut it at just a diagonal, then you get something kind of more like this, where it's, you have to kind of angle it to get that color play. So, I mean, it's really up to whoever is working the piece to figure out how they want to cut it, but the best way to cut it is just to make sure that you make sure that it has color in it first, and then start slicing it this way. And then that way you can always either dome it, you can either go at an angle and get some more colors, or you can just do a kind of more like a triangle thing like what I showed you. That we can get a more variety of that color. Aside from a few of the scratches that occurred, these pieces turned out just fantastic. I really hope the customer likes these and displays them for all to see. So if it's one thing that you should take away from this, nothing will ever be perfect. There will always be some kind of flaw, and it could be a super small flaw, only the artist can see where the flaw is at, or it might be a noticeable flaw. But you know, if the customer is happy with something and they say, hey, I love it, I'm over the moon, it's amazing, that's the only thing that matters. It does not matter if you're kind of bummed out about some of the flaws that you might see, because I was a little bit bummed out, but because the customer loved it so much, it made me feel better, because that's the most important thing, is if the customer is happy, that's the important thing. That's all that matters. So to the customer that I know that's going to be watching this, I really hope you enjoy these pieces for many years to come, and I appreciate the work that you have given me. That's going to do it for today's video. I really hope that you stuck around for this whole thing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Rock on.